On behalf of the family, I would like to thank you for making time to be here tonight, to honor this man in a special way. Not to grieve his loss, the loss of him, but to celebrate the man that he was. And to acknowledge that the man that he was isn't over for us because we have the memories of him. And we'll get to a lot of those memories while we're here together tonight. But I want to remind us as we get started, when we grieve, it is our duty to remember that our grief must not and cannot eclipse our hope. For those of us that know Jesus as this man did, we are allowed to grieve as a people with a hope. And that hope is real, and that hope will carry us through the days ahead. I want to thank you for your presence and your support of this family. And as much as we are grieving and as sad as we are, they are facing more. So I challenge you that your presence here tonight is only the first step. That in the days and weeks and months ahead, this family will need you perhaps in a way that they have not needed you before. As much as we have experienced loss, they have experienced loss more. We should be mindful of that. I believe that we should let the words of God challenge us and comfort us in the days ahead. They should comfort us because the Word of God lets us know that being sad is okay. Being sad is okay. It should challenge us in reminding us that we are who we are because of whose we are. This is a family that knows that truth, and I believe would drag me out of here behind their vehicles if I didn't say it to you tonight. That Jesus is the anchor. That we are faced with circumstances that we wish we would never have to face. That we are not abandoned by God. That Jesus is close. Hear the words tonight of 1 Thessalonians 4, verses 13 and 14. It reads this way. And now, dear brothers and sisters, we want you to know what will happen to believers who have died. Let us pause here and say thank you to God for His grace and His provision that this man knew Jesus intimately. We don't want you to be confused about what happens to believers who have died. So you will not grieve, catch this phrase, like people who have no hope. For since we believe that Jesus died and was raised to life again, we also believe that when Jesus returns, God will bring back with him the believers who have died. You see, we don't have to grieve as a people without a hope because that hope rests in a promise. And that promise for us tonight is that Travis is with his Lord. Although we're sad because he is away from us, would any of us trade the place that he has now to be back with us? Perhaps early in our grief, yes. But as the days continue, we will look further on to our day when our story may end and the place that we know we will have. See, this is a big promise that when it's over here, it's not over. Jesus has bought us with a price, and that price has paid for our eternity. Our connection tonight exists with Travis and our past experiences with him. It exists in our present memories of him. And here's a big truth tonight. It will exist in our future with him in heaven. What a great promise that is. That we as believers in Jesus can say goodbye for now, not goodbye forever. Let us pray. God, tonight we lean on this hope. We ask, God, that you would allow, through your grace, our stories to remain steady. God, that we would grab onto that part of you that is able to handle us when we can't handle ourselves. And so, God, tonight we do view this as a celebration of a man's life. A grieving of our loss, yes, but God, we celebrate through his story the fact that his story pointed us to you. And so, God, if there are those in this room that don't know you yet, that they would be reminded through the testimony of this man. If there was one thing to get right, it would be a relationship with you. For those of us in this room, God, that know you, could you comfort us? Could you be that God that knows us in the dark places that we may hide from others? Could you minister to us there? And as we proceed through this night, God, could you help us to laugh a little? This was no quiet man. This was a funny man. He would laugh at our quietness tonight. So, God, could you help us smile as he did so well as we remember him in these next few minutes. In Jesus' name, amen.
evening again, and thank you for coming. My name is Ben McClary. I pastor a church just outside of Boise, Idaho. And I was privileged to call Travis my friend for 29 years. Sorry. Travis was my best friend through high school and college and into our young adult years. First met Travis at the beginning of our freshman year in high school, where we ran cross country and track together. I also had the privilege of meeting Serena in our freshman year of college, just as she and Travis started dating. In fact, as I was going through my boxes of old high school and college memories last week, I came across a stack of letters that I'd hung on to that Travis had written me way back before the internet. One of them was from just 2 months into our freshman year of college. Travis was in California attending Christ College of Irvine. I was off in Missouri attending Ozark Christian College. And he wrote, to summarize quickly, I met a girl. Took a girl out, went out with girl for a week, got in a fight with girl, broke up with girl, got back together with girl, had girl break my heart, and now we are semi-friends. Now some semi-details. Her name is Serena, and she is a heartbreaker. I love her deeply. A lot like the story of my relationship with my wife. Later that same school year in the spring, he wrote me and said, I've been totally busy with school and Serena, finances and Serena, homework and Serena. Ben, this is my prediction. I'm married in 2 years. Well, it took him 2.5. He was a little slow. In the summer after our freshman year, I moved back home to California and started going to school there, and so I was able to spend a lot more time with my dear friend Travis. A couple more of the best years of my life. Proverbs 17:17 says, a friend loves you all the time, and a brother is always there to help you. That's the kind of friend that Travis was, like a brother. We helped each other to have fun, and we helped each other get in trouble. Spent countless numbers of days at the beach, going to Angels and Dodger games, lots of time just hanging out. The only time I ever ditched school in high school was with Travis. Cut out early to go see the first showing of Back to the Future 2 the day we even looked at apartments together, but decided that we were better off with the free housing we had at our parents' house. Travis and Serena set me up on the only blind date that I ever went on in my life with one of Serena's roommates. Travis and I even got a job together. We had the same role at the same company, although in different locations a few miles apart. We were stuck in basically a little information kiosk at a membership warehouse, not unlike Costco, where our job was to get sales leads for local car companies. We also happened to sell pagers. That's how long ago it was. Our company also began to sell cell phones when they very first came out and were very expensive. And each of the booths that we worked at had its own cell phone for us to use to call in orders for people if they wanted to sign up. Well, the job was pretty boring, and so Travis and I spent a fair amount of time just calling each other. And in a subsequent team meeting, the area manager was spelling out some new guidelines for the use of the company's cell phones. Travis and I glanced at each other wide-eyed as the boss explained that just a couple of employees had racked up the company's cell phone bill to a few $1,000s. Travis had one of the biggest, most generous hearts of anyone I've ever known. He was a very caring person, and he was quite a giver. I still have a number of the gifts that he gave me through the years, since we shared a love of baseball and baseball card collecting. For my birthday one year, he gave me a couple of valuable cards of Stan Musial and Ken Griffey Jr., Hall of Famers, because they were born on November 21st, which was my birthday. We were also big football fans as well. For Christmas one year, he gave me a Steve Young jersey, even though in our junior year, my 49ers handed his Broncos the biggest defeat in Super Bowl history. We both also always loved music as well, and at my surprise 17th birthday party, which Travis helped to organize, he gave me a cassette from Run DMC. And I had it up until last year when I finally got rid of my cassette collection. Kids, ask your parents what those are. In more recent years, when I found myself without work, Travis even offered to take me and my family of 6 into his own home to give me a job and to help my family get back on our feet. I know he made that offer to a lot of people. Vicki, you did a good job raising a good young man. As I visited with my parents about their recollections of Travis, they commented that he was always so kind and polite. He was a gentle and respectful young man. They appreciated what a good friend Travis was in my life. 1 Thessalonians 4, which Ben read from earlier, verses 11 and 12 says, "Make it your ambition to lead a quiet life, to mind your own business and to work with your hands, so that your daily life may win the respect of outsiders, and so that you will not be dependent on anybody." Travis lived that scripture out. He wanted to serve, not to be served. He was a very hard worker. He would do anything to provide for his girls and to help anyone else in need that he could. He drove the furthest of anyone in our wedding party to stand as one of the groomsmen in my wedding. In his years at Domino's and at Home Depot and at Starbucks and at Best Buy and in his most recent work endeavors, Travis sought to raise up and build up others around him. Travis had a very significant impact on more lives than any of us in this room even know about. What makes me happiest about my dear friend Travis is that in these last couple of years, he found a deep and personal relationship with Jesus. I was thrilled to learn that Travis had made his own decision a couple of years ago to be immersed into Christ. And in these last couple of years, our conversations turned decidedly to spiritual things. He was increasingly committed to living his life for the expansion of God's kingdom and of sharing God's grace. I'll share with you again the verses that Ben read a moment ago, 1 Thessalonians 4:13. "Brothers, we do not want you to be ignorant about those who fall asleep, or to grieve like the rest of men who have no hope. We believe that Jesus died and rose again, and so we believe that God will bring with Jesus those who have fallen asleep in him." We miss Travis, and we grieve his loss for the rest of our journey, but we look forward to the day when we will be with him again around the throne of Jesus. Thank you.
When the weight of life begins to fall, me free. My hope will always be your promises to me. As I walk into the days to come, I will not forget what you have done. You have supplied my every need. Oh, your presence is enough for me. Doesn't matter what I feel, doesn't matter what I see, 'cause my hope will always be your promises to me. So I'm casting out all fear, for your love has set me free. My hope will always be your promises to me. Oh, you will always be more than for me. You will always be more than for me. 'Cause nothing's gonna stop the plans you made. Nothing's gonna take your love away. You will always be more than enough for me. You will always be more than enough for me. You will always be more than enough for me. 'Cause nothing's gonna stop the plans you made. Nothing's gonna take your love away. You will always be more than enough for me. Doesn't matter what I feel, doesn't matter what I see, my hope will always be your promises to me. So I'm casting out all fear, for your love has set me free. And my hope will always be your promises to me. Doesn't matter what I feel, doesn't matter what I see, my hope will always be your promises to me. So I'm casting out all fear, for your love has set me free. My hope will always be your promises to me.
Thank you guys, and thank you, Ben. I think what we've exposed here so far tonight is that Travis was a rare breed of man. He was a man that was willing to be known, and he was a man that was willing to share. And I believe for every man in this room, this should be a very distinct challenge. That through those two characteristics that you can make an impact, no matter how short or how long the arc of your life may be. If we would adopt these characteristics, we would honor his life. I find it helpful in times like these to remember the great parts of a person's story. The characteristics that I believe God allowed us the gift to see in this man. I want you to stop tonight and ask yourself this question. Of all the people on planet Earth that you could have known for a short time, why Travis? The question for us tonight is, how should this man's life impact our life? One of the other big questions I have during times like this is, can we feel the things that we're feeling? Is it okay to be angry with God? As I read the pages of my Bible, I see the answer is yes. Is it okay to misunderstand God in either his actions or inactivity? As I read the pages of my Bible, yes. Is it okay to run to God when other things don't bring us comfort? As I read the pages of my Bible, the answer is yes. It is my hope for all of us as His church community, as His family, that we will not, in our anger, remove ourselves from God. That we would not, in our misunderstanding why things must happen the way that they happen, remove ourselves from God. The truth that we will cling to tonight, as friends and as family, is that God is near. God is near. I just want to share with you, probably to echo many things that have already been said, how Travis's church family will remember him. He was an incredible encourager. In a dark world, in a world that is ready to take people down, he was ready to lift people up. I've heard many, many stories over the past few days of how this man would execute encouragement. I believe we should adopt that characteristic. Here's how I knew that he was pleased with me. He always had a cup of coffee in his hand at church. I heard just yesterday that cup of coffee caused a lot of arguments among the family because he didn't want to get up and get it himself. Funny enough, his daughters told him, get up and get it yourself. I always knew that he was pleased with the way church had gone when he passed me on the sidewalk, his intimidating presence for me, because I knew he knew more than he was letting on with me. He would take his cup of coffee, black, no cream, no sugar, because that's how a real man should drink it, I suppose.
Dad, just like Dad.
He would take his cup of coffee, he would raise it in my direction, and he would keep walking. For me, I knew if I got that action, that day church was a success for him. What I want us to remember is that he seemed to have a mission and a purpose to not give up on people that other people had given up on. May we adopt that characteristic today. He loves people well. I think it started with being a man that was loved well, as evidenced by the people who are here tonight. I only saw him red-faced and mad one time, and it was over his family. Protecting his family. We had a very extended conversation about which way he should go in a particular circumstance. And he needed to know it was okay for him to be angry over some injustice that had been done to his family. Because I was so scared of him, I said, do what you need to do. He loved people well. I believe there was an ownership for him in relationship. We are more connected and less connected than we have ever been. But he pushed through that, even if it meant managing his own wife's Facebook page. He was a hard worker. Even in the face of great opposition to the idea, he was able to work hard and do what needed to be done. That inspires me. I'm sure this was taught and caught from his family. He never stayed still. I never had a conversation when he stayed where he was when the conversation started. He was always on his way to the next thing. That's going to be hard for me to adopt. Here's the most important thing for me tonight, and I think for us, is that he was a follower of Jesus. And we would do a great disrespect to his story to not acknowledge that this was a hard-fought battle. This is not a challenge that he accepted lightly. But once he accepted it, he owned it. He was a man that shared his faith with anybody in his circle of influence. He did it at home, and he did it at work. As I think about his relationship with Jesus, these words come to mind. It was real, it was genuine, and it was intimate. So I challenge us as we wrap tonight to remember the things that were great about this man. And I believe we should take it as our responsibility to live great lives based on what he has shown us. You see, I think the reason that God brought us this man, brought us into his circle, is that because we needed him. We needed him to show us these things, to remind us that these things are images, mirror images of who God is. God has encouraged many of us in the times that we needed it. God has walked in for many of us when most have walked out. I'm thankful for this man. I'm thankful for his story, and I'm thankful for his example. And yes, I too am sad with you. I too am angry with you that he is gone. But I too cling to the hope that we will see one another again. And that one day soon he will raise his cup of coffee to me again. I close tonight with the words of Jesus. I think it's the best place to end with. Jesus says these words in John 14. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Instead, trust in God and trust in me. There's more than enough room in my Father's home. If this were not so, I would have told you. Would I have told you that I'm going to prepare a place for you if it were not so? When everything is ready, I'll come and get you, so that you will always be with me where I am. You know the way to where I am going. I close tonight with this thought, and it is almost unimaginable that Jesus didn't say to the crowd that day, and he doesn't say to us tonight, that he goes to prepare a generic place for all of us. Jesus reminds us through this verse in John in front of us tonight that he goes to prepare a place for us individually. And when that place is ready, that he will come and get us and take us there. See, for us, the timing is horrible, it's horrific, and it's tragic. But for Jesus, the timing is perfect. And so if Jesus has gone to prepare a place for Travis, and the time has come to take Travis, then Travis, we must deduce, is with Jesus in the perfect place. Where there are many people to encourage and many people to love. Of course, we will experience a deficit in the days ahead. There's always a big gap left by great men like Travis. But we will seek to fill that gap with genuine relationship, with encouragement, with hard work,